I really like, there's a local artist, her name is Miko, and when I was in college, I would go on MySpace and I would listen to her music all the time, and I just liked how just raw but also very, she's very down to earth, and I felt like her career path and just her style of singing and style of playing, it was something that I connected. I felt like I was like her, and I always wanted to make music like her. So I feel like I've always just followed, her journey, and I actually got to meet her at Hotel Cafe. This was like 2 years ago. I went to see her play. When I saw her play, it just that's another thing. When you see one of your favorite artists live, you're like, man, that really inspires you to make music and be like them. So yeah, I love Mika. I love Joni Mitchell. My mom would always play her music growing up. And what I really like about her music is that it's just free thoughts. She doesn't stick to any sort of like structure in her music. There is a structure, but it's very open, and it's like she's thinking of things, and there's no boxes. She's just writing whatever she feels, and I feel like the style it's very inspired by rhythms, and that's something that really inspired my songwriting. Like my first EP, like Click of the Clock, like when I wrote that song, I was listening to a lot of Joni Mitchell at the time, and it was the rhythm of the guitar and the strumming that really inspired the melody in that song. And that's something that I noticed with Joni Mitchell's music. It's like it can get really rhythmic at times. She plays in a lot of open tunings, and I'm inspired by a lot of open tunings because I feel like it's just easy to come up with cool chords and progressions, and you can just make up something and it just sounds good in open tuning, as opposed to like playing in standard and you have like your singer-songwriter chord shapes like G, C, D. Like that can get boring after a while. When you play like in an open tuning, the sound of the guitar and the ringing of the guitar, it just opens up so much more musically. So my new release, I feel like I have a more defined folk pop sound. So I really thought about the production and the message that I wanted to say in my songs, and I thought about putting out an album that has a theme to it. It's called Dreamcatcher, and it kind of relates to how I was feeling last year about, being in music. You are constantly going after this thing that you can't see. You're trying to make your dream a reality, and every time you latch onto something, it doesn't last very long. You have to go for the next thing and then the next thing, and to keep the flow going. And I just felt like I was chasing after this thing, and as I was going after it, I didn't realize I'm living my dream right now. I'm doing music full time, and so that kind of came out in the songwriting. The like Jackets, for example, that was a song that I had started a while ago, and I rewrote it, and I thought about the meaning behind that song, and I thought, this isn't necessarily about like a relationship. This is about following your passions and not giving up, and not feeling guilty for going after something that you've always wanted to do. And I think for a lot of people, like in their 20s especially, like this is like a major time when we're figuring ourselves out and what we're going to do for the rest of our lives. And that song kind of just reflects the idea that you can try and please the person in the relationship that you're with, but at the end of the day, you have to do what you're meant to do, what your gift is, and for me that was music, so that came out in that song. I Want You is a song about just being yourself, you know, in a relationship or just with anybody. And that's really important to, you know, going after what you're passionate about. You can't fake it. You gotta be authentic. One Wish is about not having regrets. And that's funny because when I was writing that song, it was actually inspired by, I was thinking about what I would say to my kids if I were old and dying. Like, what would I say to my kids? I was thinking about my grandparents and something that my grandparents told to me. They're you know, saying that you should live while you can, because when you're old, you don't have time left. And so that song, yeah, is living without regrets. In Your Arms, that's the opening track on the CD. That song is about you know, that feeling of security that you get being with somebody, and wanting that security, and it doesn't necessarily mean you have to stay in one place. So you can have that wherever you are. So I thought about all those songs, and the title Dreamcatcher just came to mind, and I just decided to name the EP that because of just everyth's tied together. Bonus track is Whisper to Me. That's just a really sexy song. Does that say that? It's a fun song. It's you know, I thought about it like if I had something to say to somebody to let them know that everything's going to be all right. And I think, you know, when you're really going after what you want, it's scary because you know, you might fail at what you're doing, and so I just wanted to write a song that was just calming, you know, letting somebody know that it's okay. Hey, like you can go after your dreams, and I'm always going to be there. So that kind of tied into the rest of the EP.